A very common scene in action movies is the good guy is running away from the bad guy, or the bad guy is running away from the good guy. And they always run through crowded areas, and they always throw stuff behind them as they are running away to make it harder for whomever is chasing them. Every company that isn't corrupt or isn't living off more and more debt can only survive if they are bringing in more money than they are spending. No matter what they are doing or making, if they aren't making a profit, they will eventually go out of business. So whenever they spend money, they've got to have a good idea that spent money will create a positive ROI. But small businesses and big businesses have two completely different ways of creating a positive ROI. Small businesses do anything they can to grow market share, get more customers, and increase sales. Big businesses, on the other hand, tend to protect market share and stay ahead of any competition. One common issue of both big and small businesses is the idea of trade secrets. If any company has created some kind of a secret formula for a popular product, everybody will try to copy this. One famous example from the last century is the secret recipe for Coca-Cola. Way back in the day, one of their secret ingredients was cocaine, but they decided to switch it with caffeine. There's a theory that extraterrestrials have been active on Earth since perhaps before World War II, or at the very least shortly after, but they haven't been here like they show in the movies. They come via trans-dimensional portals. Physically, using known laws of science, it would be impossible to travel here due to relativistic speed of light constraints, but they may be able to travel by way of small wormholes, and the way they have been interacting with human society is also unlike how they show in the movies. For example, it's very common for large companies to set up shell companies to make it very easy for them to hide subsidiaries and other businesses. They do this for many reasons, but they can do so without ever having to meet with anybody face to face. Just wire money around and hire attorneys via email agreements and other courier-based documents. It's believed that this is how extraterrestrials have been operating within the United States for the past several decades, by setting up various shell companies and other artificial pseudo-government agencies. They are doing this essentially to monitor our progress. It's not like on Star Trek, where as soon as a civilization discovers warp travel, they are visited by members of the Federation and invited to join up. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Aliens are like us in that they need resources. So they are here and are involved with our economy, but not to help us along, to keep us from discovering the science that will take us to the next level. The idea is that once we discovered nuclear energy, that was a sign that we needed to be monitored, not because nuclear energy is at all dangerous to them, just that it represents a step forward in our scientific understanding, and to keep us from being too much of a danger to them from a resource use level. Their intentions have been essentially to feed us wrong or slightly off technological and scientific information, which means that whatever we think we are on the verge of discovering now will easily end up in a dead end and a waste of resources. This is essentially how they've maintained their domination for the past several million years. Whenever any intelligent life forms discover nuclear energy, they show up, create false organizations, and slowly feed them false scientific information. This inevitably leads to a complete wasting of resources, which essentially sends them back to a pre-industrial society. For the extraterrestrials, any intelligent life that stays in a pre-industrial society is very easy to manage. One of the biggest trade secrets today is Google's algorithm. This is something that can be easily hacked and used to spread false information. Another reason to suspect that Google is not an organic creation. The bigger a company gets, the more it makes sense to get positive ROI through creating various lobbying groups. If you are a small company, you want to spend all your money to create better products to get more customers and grow your market share. If you are a large company, it makes perfect sense to spend your money on lobbyists, bribe as many congressmen as you can, and get them to create laws that will make it harder on your competition. You never see a movie with a guy running away from another guy in an open field. That is just a matter of pure speed and isn't that interesting to watch. Instead, they have foot chases and even car chases where there are a lot of obstacles and things you can throw behind you to keep people from catching you. This is why a lot of chase scenes happen in kitchens in crowded apartment buildings. It's also why they always seem to have a huge chase scene conveniently at the same time there's a parade going on. Because if you're being chased, it's always easiest to lose somebody in a big crowd.